Hello friends, welcome back. My name is Ramon. How are you today? We are finally getting around to testing out the Access Y sunscreen. Now this was a hot request in my comments for a very long time, so sorry to keep you waiting. We're here now. We're gonna test it out. This is really interesting sunscreen. I've seen a lot of decent reviews from this, and people in my comments themselves have been like, I've had really great success with this. I really like to review it on the channel, and looking at this, I kind of understand why. Overall, it seems to be a very sensitive skin friendly physical sunscreen, touting ingredients such as mugwort, niacinamide, squalane, and a really nice moisturizing texture. So I'm gonna be testing that out. Before I get into it, I'm gonna ask that you hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you know when I post more skincare, sunscreen, fancy related content on my channel. Give the video a thumbs up, and down below, have you tried this? Let me know what your thoughts and experiences were, and also what other recommendations you have. I've been having a really good time testing out and trying out the sunscreen that you keep recommending in my comments, and keep them coming. Thank you. So let's look at some of the online claims for this, as well as what the packaging says. On the Access Y website, it says this is a mugwort-based sunscreen that protects skin from UVA and UVB damage while providing the healing properties of skin-loving ingredients for an everyday, no-stress life. It's a lightweight moisturizing cream that blends in castlessly, and it calms and relieves skin from sun exposure and other irritants. It also claims to be non-pore clogging. Looking at the packaging itself, again, it features mugwort, niacinamide, and squalane as the star ingredients, but it also has this 6+1+1 ingredient complex, which looking at the website is just this complex of really soothing, skin repairing, skin soothing ingredients. So the 6 part of that is calendula, grape, green tea, chamomile, squalane, and allantoin. Those are really calming, anti-inflammatory ingredients. You also got mugwort in this, which mugwort's a really great wound healing, anti-inflammatory ingredient as well. And then that other last one is something called Syncol, synthetic collagen, I guess, which is just a peptide complex base that they're claiming to do a lot. But honestly, looking at the formulation, it's really probably just gonna act as a humectant in the skin. So yeah, overall, they're really claiming this formulation's intended to be really gentle for the skin and also help to protect the skin against inflammation, signs of aging, and oxidation. So anti-inflammatory ingredients, antioxidants. And really just looking at what all the ingredients really do, it has zinc and titanium as the primary UV filters. I've had to research a little bit to find out the percentage of zinc that's in this, and I think it's about 12%, which is actually a little bit of a higher percentage than I think I found in a lot of Korean physical sunscreens, especially with the Purito and whatnot. There's been a little bit of point of contention as to what percentage of a filter is actually in the sunscreen. But that being said, it's really misleading to base a sunscreen's protection solely off the percentage of the UV filter that's in it. Granted, there is a little bit of truth to that, but you also have to consider what else is in the formulation, what is fortifying, what's amplifying, what's boosting up the UV protecting qualities of the filters in the sunscreen. So 12% is actually really high up for zinc oxide, in my opinion, to give you really good protection. This is claiming SPF 50+, PA+++++, so actually very broad spectrum, which is really good to see for physical sunscreen. Generally, it's hard to find something out of 50, and it's also really hard to find something with 4 pluses with high UVA protection for a physical sunscreen, which is my main beef with it. So interested to see how this looks and how this wears on the skin. Other callouts mainly is just niacinamide, also very high up in the ingredients list, and it's a superstar ingredient. It's great for anti-inflammatory benefits, skin barrier repair, brightening, and sebum controlling anti-acne properties as well. And then it claims this is a mugwort based sunscreen, but mugwort is low on the ingredients list, so don't know the exact effects of that. Here's the tea on this. The price for this that I've been able to find is very all over the place. It's averaging about the low 20s. I bought this for about $21 on YesStyle. You can get it as low as about $18 and as high as about $28 right now on Stylovana. I'll have all the links for this down below, but you get the standard 50 ml, 1.69 fluid ounces. Yeah, that's about average for sunscreen. So based off we use it and how I see it fits on the skin, I'm just to see how this wears and if the price is going to be worth it, just because it's highly recommended, but it's a physical sunscreen, and we all know how that works out on my channel. To explain how I'm going to be testing it over the next 4 days, I do my standard 4B mineral sunscreen testing rubric, where I test the 4 Bs: beard, beading, beat, and brown skin friendly, to really see how versatile the sunscreen is in application and wear, and how it's going to wear in all those factors. Beard meaning how it works into facial hair, hairline, eyebrows. Beading, how it works with their skincare. Are there weird texture issues? Does it pill up? Beat, how does it work with makeup? How does it affect the application of makeup? How does it affect the makeup wear? And how does it affect the look of the makeup overall? And then brown skin friendly. Does it have a white cast, and to what degree? Every day I apply roughly 1/4 teaspoon plus to my face, my ears, and my neck, work it in for a few minutes, and let it sit down for at least 5 minutes before going on top of it with makeup or whatever else, with the 4th day being nothing more than just a sunscreen to see what it looks like on bare skin, but also how it reapplies on top of itself. So next time you see me is going to be after day 4, after all 4 days of testing, where I'm going to tell you my thoughts, my experiences, and if it's going to be Ramon recommended or not. So stick around. Here we are, actually 5 or 6 days into testing out the Access Y Complete No Stress Sunscreen. I'm torn. But let's go back and review the last 5 or 6 days of me testing it out, just to see what happened? So again, I'm testing out the 4Bs Beard Beating Beat Brown Skin Friendly, applying a 1/4 teaspoon, roughly, if not a little bit more, to my face, my neck, and my ears, working it in for a little bit and letting it sit for at least 5 minutes before going on top of it with anything else. On top of that, I'm adjusting the skincare underneath and the makeup I put on top just to see how those variables work with the sunscreen. Day 1 of application is the first day of me trying it out generally. As you can see, I apply the sunscreen, I dispense it into the little spoon, and then I start applying it to half of my face and my neck and whatnot. I'm working it in, letting it set down, form the barrier it needs to, so that you can compare with sunscreen and without sunscreen. Is it gonna leave a white cast? What does it look like on the skin? I was shocked. I was like, oh, okay, this is promising. Went in with the rest of my face. That day was light skincare, just like a hydrator, serum, moisturizer, this on top, light bead on top of it. And overall, my first thoughts was, this is mattifying. Makeup went on top of it beautifully. And my thoughts at the end of the night were, this is mattifying. Second day, normal application, but this is with a lot of skincare underneath. I'm talking layers of hydrators, layers of serums, gel moisturizer, cream moisturizer. I was shiny, I was glossy. This one on top, and my first thought when it went on top was, this is mattifying. I had like rich emollients underneath this, and I put this on top. When it set down, my face was natural, like satiny finish. Makeup went on top of it beautifully, and at the end of the day, my boyfriend just throughout the day kept saying, you look really matte. This was a soft beat day. It was just some concealer buffed out with some bronzer. With all the stuff underneath it, my skin stayed very matte. I didn't get really oily in my normal areas, so I was like, okay. Third day, this is full coverage beat. Full foundation, concealer, bronzer, contour, blush, highlight, everything. Makeup went on beautifully. And even with using primer on my eyelids and my face, I feel like my face stayed nice and matte. My foundation stuck around all day. It worked nicely. Things buffed and blended on top of everything beautifully. What I will say though is I had a little bit of a pore issue in my like next to nose area, my T-zone area. Granted, everything I use is meant to blur pores, soften the appearance of texture and whatnot. What I will contribute that to is more to the concealer than the sunscreen itself, I think, and I'll explain that in a little bit. And then fourth day was nothing but the skincare and the sunscreen on top of it on a bare face so that you can see what the sunscreen looks like on just bare skin. But on top of that, how it reapplied on top of itself, just because that situation can get kind of hairy. Mainly because the sunscreen reactivates itself sometimes and really heightens or amplifies whatever white cast might have been there. Honestly, on initial application, it looked good, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's softened a lot of my texture, it really blurred out some pores, and it made my skin look really nicely like satin matte finish. With the reapplication though, what I will say is that having nothing emollient or slippy underneath it, it got harder to work into itself. That's something I found I had to really think about with further testing. But on top of that, even though there was minimal to no white cast with the first application, with the second reapplication, that's when I started to really see like, oh, okay, like it's a little bit of something there, but still, honestly, like considering that was my reapplication and it looks better still than some of the initial applications with other mineral sunscreens, I'm not gonna knock it. Then here's the deal. Because I had been testing it while using a moisturizer underneath it, this texture itself felt nicely moisturizing. I was like, I'm gonna test this for one more day using this in place of a moisturizer. Just go straight in with after my hydrators with this as a moisturizer plus sunscreen. But on top of that, because it was so mattifying every day I used it, I was like, let me test this with a radiant hydrating foundation. So I went in with the Fenty Beauty hydrating foundation on top of it. And that's what we're wearing today. I'm about 4 or 5 hours into the wear test. I just wanna wash this off right now. But no blotting or anything. This looks pretty good. So my opinions and my thoughts based on the claims of the sunscreen. First and foremost, in terms of the wear and the feel of this, it is lightweight. This melts into the skin. It feels very silicone-y, I'm not gonna lie to you. It feels like a hybrid between something like the Coco Kind sunscreen, which was kind of an oilier base, but not too heavy, a very lightweight oil, and the Kylie Skin sunscreen, which was actually more of a dimethicone silicone base. And this is like a really nice hybrid of both of those. I feel like it's nicely moisturizing. It's still very lightweight on the skin. It's not too heavy, or even on my oily skin, it's a lot. And the versatility of that allows it to go over moisturizers really nicely and still work even for my oily acne prone skin, but also to take place of moisturizer and still feel like even for my oily acne prone skin, it's nicely nourishing enough. If you have more dry skin, don't do that last part. Just moisturizer underneath it. But with the texture of it, cyclohexosiloxane is actually the second ingredient of it, and I really feel that. It's like a volatile silicone, so it gives a nice slip, it's nicely emollient, but it sets down really nicely into the skin. I feel like it's a really nice base for makeup. It blurs a lot of texture and pore situations, and makeup goes on top of it beautifully. You have a really nice mix of really nice anti-inflammatory ingredients, skin soothing ingredients, skin barrier repairing ingredients. Real talk, I think it actually works really nicely for that. And also it's a mineral sunscreen base, but I I have opinions on that. But day 4 of testing this, actually, I don't know what skincare I did that morning that did it, but I actually got a really bad like inflammatory reaction like 5 minutes after my skincare that morning set, and I had to go wash it off, do new skincare, and I use this on top. And a combination of ingredients really did help to calm down and reduce the inflammation that I was having in my face. I don't know if you can see that on camera that day, but I was like very shocked. Mugwort plus the niacinamide plus the allantoin, calendula, green tea, they did the work. Looking at everything else that's in this, in terms of the UV filter, zinc oxide is the primary sunscreen filter ingredient in this. It mentions nothing about it being nano, but doesn't say it's non-nano, and it's, based off what I could tell, higher than 10%, so you're getting decent protection from it. You're getting SPF 50+, and you're getting a PA4+ rating on this, which is really, really high. Because it's mineral, it's gonna be a little bit more sensitive skin friendly, I'll give it that. And that squalene is just a really nice skin nourishing oil paired with a lot of really great humectants, and then you have mugwort, which is a really great ingredient for just wound healing, for calming inflammation in the skin. To me though, I feel like just niacinamide in itself is like the star ingredient in this, just because niacinamide does so much, and a lot of the effects that I see from this could be just due to the niacinamide, fortified with some of the other things like adenosine. This also has that palmitoyl tripeptide 5, which is, they're claiming to do a lot of things for like skin firming and whatnot. It's the last ingredient on the ingredient list. To see a lot of those effects from peptides, you need to see a higher percentage of it paired with a lot of other peptide complex ingredients. And at the percentage that it's probably in this formulation, at most you're just getting really nice humectant benefits. So now looking at my experience with the sunscreen and going back to the 4 B's, beard, how this works into facial hair, hairline, and eyebrows. This was very nice. Because the texture is so lightweight, I feel like I could work it into my hairline really nicely. In my opinion, it looked good in my beard. My boyfriend feels a little bit otherwise, but for the most part, I don't feel like it was really unworkable in how it like clung to beard hair. I feel like for the most part, I could either work it in really well or cover it up with makeup, like bronzer or something. Beading, how it worked with other skincare, was there weird texture? No, 100% no. The silicone emollient texture of this is so nice and slippy that it works great over even just some hydrators and serums, or over a really rich hydrators, serums, moisturizers, creams, emollients, oils, and there was no weird texture issues. It just left my skin nicely prepped for either makeup or just for all day wear. Beat, how it wore with makeup. Again, the texture of this, it's a mix between an oil and a silicone that sets really nicely and lightweight on the skin, so my makeup looked good. My skin texture looked good. You can see here my forehead, like it's just so smooth and radiant. What I will say is, because it is more mattifying, on days where I didn't go heavy with moisturizer on my under eyes, I feel like it gets a little bit drying. So really prep down there with moisturizer, eye cream, or whatever. Overall, with makeup, this worked beautifully. And then brown skin friendly, the most important question. In my opinion, my first day of trying this out, I posted on Instagram, and I'll include the video here on screen. I was surprised. It looked really, really good. With the generous application I did, it set into my skin nicely. In terms of how it wears on other deeper, darker skin tones, I could not find a lot of examples. I'll have a link down low for a fellow YouTuber named Iman, aka Hijabi and Soul. She's a little bit darker than I am, and she tried this on, and on an initial application, it looked a little sus, I will admit that. But after letting it sit down for about 5 to 10 minutes, which is something I recommend you do for most, if not all, your sunscreens, because it needs to set to form that barrier protection, it was almost completely gone. So if I can find more examples of how this looks on deeper, darker skin tones, I will include that. But for the most part, I would consider this a really nice contender for top sunscreen experiences in terms of elegance for 2020. So brown skin friendly for the most part. So overall, in my opinion, is this Ramon recommended? I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna be honest. This is pricier in my opinion. Although Agnesta right now here in the UK, I'm seeing it for about $17, $18 pounds. So it's not the most outrageously priced. Looking at what the formulation is, you're getting a lot of really nice skin soothing anti-inflammatory ingredients. The protection on this, considering it's a mineral only filter, it's actually really, really high, which you don't see a lot for mineral filters. And I think Korean sunscreens really set a specific bar and set a specific standards for physical sunscreens in terms of elegance and protection standards. And then overall, just my experience using this, it's a really nice versatile texture. The white cast on this is minimal to non-existent on me. The way it pairs with makeup and with skincare, it does a lot. And because it is so oily skin friendly based off how matte and how oil controlling it was throughout the day, I'm really excited to use this for the summer here in London, just to see how well it wears, and as I get more tan, how it's gonna look on my skin. So overall, my final thoughts on the Access White Complete No Stress Physical Sunscreen. Ramon recommended, like 90%, I will say that. I'm really interested to see what this is gonna look like on other skin tones, skin types, just because on my oily, acne prone skin, being where I am skin tone wise, I had a really positive experience with this. It was oil controlling, it worked great with makeup. I had no weird issues with hairline, with beard, with anything else. I would just say prep your skin really well if you have more dry skin, because this does tend to leave you a little bit more like dry looking. But the formulation for this is insane. It is really anti-inflammatory. Everything else about the formulation claims I can't guarantee, but this does calm inflammation, does reduce redness, and it does soften a lot of texture issues. So If you're looking for a really good mineral sunscreen, Access Y kind of did that. Thank you guys for watching. Down below in the comments, tell me, based off what you could see off the screen and what your interpretation was, this worked, right? I'm not crazy, right? Tell me what your thoughts of it were. Tell me if you've tried this before, what your experiences were, and what other mineral sunscreen recommendations you guys have, because I only bought this because of you guys and it was high-key a banger. So tell me what else you got. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so that you know when I post more skincare, sunscreen, and fancy related content on my channel, and give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.